Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your boy, The Sean Davy Way Show. Please hit that like and subscribe on the way in. Tap that bell if you would like to be notified of all of our future content. Today, I bring you another surviving Diddy, but this time we will include someone we don't necessarily speak of, which is Janice Combs, Diddy's mother. They have a very sordid relationship, and we are going to probe their entire situation. I believe, in my opinion, with the raids that have happened to Diddy's homes, that his mother will be implemented sometime here in the future. We have found a lot of new information about how Diddy has had businesses, homes, and other things in other people's names that are close to him, which is family, his daughters, his mom, etc. I also believe with Diddy putting homes and businesses and people close to him like family in their names, I think some are aware and I think some are unaware. I think some gave permission and I think some were forced. Even his mom, Janice, falling underneath the forced blanket because, he has allegedly slapped her in the face before in the past for being disrespectful. Yeah, you heard it. Diddy allegedly slapped his mother, Janice Combs, in the past for being disrespectful. We'll get into that here in this video as well. But before we do, if you're wondering where Janice is right now, she's been right by her son's side. Let's get into the roots article about Diddy's mom, Janice Combs, is the only woman by his side amid lawsuits. Because of the myriad of issues Diddy and his family are going through currently, one might assume that the hip-hop mogul would be a bit down in the dumps and in despair. But according to recent pictures made public by the Daily Mail, Diddy and his mother Janice Combs appeared to be in good spirits as they conversed and waved at fans down in his Miami home over the weekend. In one photo, Diddy appeared to light up something before continuing in the conversation with his mother. These pictures come just days after the Bad Boy producer was named and listed as a co-defendant in yet another SA lobbed against his son, Christian King Combs. Yet and still, there's one woman who's clearly standing by her son's side, and that's former model and co-founder of Janice Combs Music Holdings, Janice Combs. Likewise, when it comes to the federal raid that took place at Diddy's LA and Miami homes, Mase Hilton, mother of Diddy's other son, Justin Dior Combs, is also standing by her son and recently blasted the Department of Homeland Security officers for their alleged excessive force against Justin and Christian. There you have it. If you've been wondering where Janice Combs, Diddy's mother, has been throughout this whole ordeal, she's been right next to her son's side, enabling him like she's been doing his whole life. I want you to remember Janice Combs Music Holdings because we will speak of that later on in this video. It is a company that Janice owns. Before we do, let's jump back into the beginning of Janice Combs and Diddy's relationship. Janice and Diddy have always been hot and cold. Obviously, on the surface, Diddy is going to make it seem like, oh, I'm just such this loving son and I have such this loving mother and she's amazing and she's my best friend. All of that is lies. Diddy hated her for a very long time throughout his childhood. Why? Because she lied to him, and she lied to him for years. What she lied about was his father passing away, how he passed away. She told Diddy that it was due to a car accident when that is not the truth. Diddy found out growing up in the same area to where his father was, and that last name Combs being a name that rang bells, and Diddy looking a lot like his father and having the last name Combs, everyone knew who he was. So the people his father used to run with in the same crew and whatnot, doing the same illegal things, they knew who he was. So they told him who his father was, and obviously it's going to get to the point to where he also finds out his father's untimely demise. And that is the complete opposite of what his mother told him. Diddy loved his father. He doesn't remember much about his father, but he did love him and he did aspire to be just like him in more ways than one. So he definitely had a hatred for his mother for quite some time and had more love for his deceased father and admiration than he did for the woman that was there taking care of him. Let's get into what happened to Diddy's father. Shout out to thelist.com. Fans of Sean Diddy Combs have grown accustomed to seeing his mother Janice by his side throughout the years. But his father, Melvin Combs, tragically never got to see his son become the mogul he is today. He was gunned down in 1972 in New York when Diddy was only 3 years old. The circumstances surrounding Melvin's passing remain unclear. However, it has been widely reported that he was also involved in Harlem's street life. Combs, who has 7 children, has admitted he does not remember much about his father. However, he does believe he got a sense of style from his dad. During a New Yorker profile in September 2002, the Bad Boy founder revealed, "People say we have similar approach to fashion. They say he was the flyest man around." While this may be true, Janice shielded her son from the true nature of Melvin's untimely demise. As a child, Janice Combs did not reveal the truth about how Melvin Combs died to Sean Diddy Combs. According to the creator of Revolt TV, this was done to keep him from seeking the same path as his father did. During a 2006 interview with Oprah Winfrey, Diddy, the man of many, many monikers, recalled that his mother claimed Melvin passed away in a car crash. However, the music producer said he began to uncover the truth early on. His quote, "I put 2 and 2 together. I noticed that guys from the streets in Harlem always seem to know my family's last name. I used to run with your father, they tell me. All my uncles were street hustlers as well," he shared. During his May 2014 Howard University commencement speech, Combs again addressed how he learned about his dad's slang. He stated that while attending the school, he did research in the library, where he discovered a newspaper article detailing that he had been unalived in a sword narcotics deal. While it seemed that Combs has his answers regarding Melvin's demise, internet rumors have swirled regarding why someone would want Melvin taken out. Side note, so pretty much until Diddy got into college, he didn't know the true fate of his father's demise. His mother lied to him for years. I don't believe she lied to him as a child. I think that that's a lot of information to tell like a toddler or someone that's an adolescent, that's the way, a violent way of a person leaving this world. So I get it. But as he got older, preteen, teenage years, I feel like she should have told him the truth because he was going to find out. And the resentment that can be taken with a person throughout life with not being told the truth about something like that can do a lot of damage. Her saying that she didn't tell him because she didn't want him to go down the same path, to me, is BS because he went down that path anyway. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it. So even if she told him, it is what it is. Because again, even with her not telling him that information, he still went down that same path. Once Diddy found out in the streets, which were still rumors, he had no solid proof that his father actually passed away that way. And when he got into college and got a hold of that newspaper, he had a newfound disrespect for his mother. That is when the hatred was kind of born. I believe before that, they kind of had a decent relationship, but when Diddy found out the true demise of his father, it kind of just made him look at his mother as the ultimate betrayer, the ultimate liar, and he held on to that. Even still to this day, he holds that against her. Diddy has never forgiven his mother, Janice, for it, and I don't think he ever will. But he does protect her. It's a weird dynamic. Again, I believe the relationship is hot and cold, lukewarm, oil and water. I just don't think these two get along. But when they are in front of those cameras, they make sure that they make you think that they do. Along with protection and talking about Janice Combs, let's get into Bad Boy Records. Right before Cassie dropped her lawsuit, Diddy gave all of the Bad Boy artists their publishing back. Now, not everyone. The people that didn't get their publishing was because they didn't sign an NDA, a hardcore NDA. Aubrey O'Day was one of those people that would not sign, and that's why she does not have her publishing from the group Danny DeCane. Aubrey's quote, "I have to sign an NDA that I will never disparage Puff, Bad Boy, Janice Combs, or Justin Combs' music, or EMI or Sony ever in public." Diddy was using the publishing as a way of getting the artist to be quiet because he knew what was to come. With Cassie coming forward with that lawsuit, a lot of people are going to come forward. A lot of these people, Bad Boy artists and whatnot, are witnesses to a lot of things that went down that were illegal, whether it was the African, drugs, whatever it was, they were down in their forward. So to not be able to say anything about Janice Combs and Justin Combs, but he didn't add like Christian or Quincy or anybody else in there, it's giving that those people have done some illegal things like Janice and Justin, because what's the point of protecting them Bad Boy Records, but not everybody that's included? So the main honchos with Bad Boy is who I feel like he was protecting, and why I feel like Janice was in there, because earlier we talked about the Janice Combs Music Holdings. That company also owned Bad Boy. You heard right. Diddy gave Bad Boy Records to his mother. He put it inside of her name. She didn't have any control over anything. Obviously, he still controlled it. He was being the puppeteer, but it was in her name. So when the publishing was given back, he took the publishing from her and used that as a way to weaponize and silence the artist by giving them back publishing that really has no value to it anymore. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, yeah, their publishing was worth millions, but he has already siphoned all of the money from it. So to a lot of these artists, they weren't even interested in getting the publishing because it's not making any money. In 2024, songs from 1994, 98 and stuff like that, yeah, they still get played, but they're not bringing in any money. How a lot of people found out that Janice Combs owned the publishing and Bad Boy Records was because of Mase. He said it publicly. Shout out to Complex.com. Following Diddy's claims that Mase owes him $3 million, the latter has shared a scathing response in which he mentioned the Bad Boy founder's mother. In a post shared on Instagram, Mase denied Diddy's request for receipts on Wednesday and suggested that all his business dealings were put under Puff's mother's name, Janice Combs. Mase's quote, "How dare this end talking about he want receipts," Mase said in the clip. "Let's start with your mother, in. Your mother got the receipts, in. Everything is in your mother's name. That's the one who got the receipts, in." After mentioning Janice, Mase went on to reference former Bad Boy signees, the Notorious B.I.G., Craig Mack, and Black Rob. He suggested Diddy also exploited those artists, all of whom have passed away. Mase was stating, hey, all my receipts are in your mom's name, so stop trying to make it look like that if I did come forward with receipts that it'll say your name and whatnot, your name on the checks, your name on the publishing. Nah, it's all your mom because you transfer everything into her name. So what's the point of me showing receipts that don't have you on it, that don't have your name anywhere on it? My beef would technically at that point be with your mother, but she don't run nothing. You do. You just have it in her name for other reasons of control, all type of stuff. But we all know what's up. You still are the puppet master. You control her. So although her name is on the receipts, you are the person I have beef with. Janice has been taking the heat for Bad Boy Records for quite some time with the artists that have formed lawsuits against the company and whatnot. That's all in Janice's name and against Janice. So if you're wondering why you didn't see a lot of lawsuits back in the day from Bad Boy artists, it's because it wasn't verse Diddy. It was verse Janice, her company, and sometimes just Bad Boy Records. So this is why Diddy did that. He was just trying to silence the people with gifts and whatnot to get them not to speak if contacted by federal agents. Diddy's mother and their relationship, again, hot and cold. You see, she has protected him, putting things into her name and whatnot so that allegations and lawsuits and stuff could be in her name instead of his. But then you have people like Gene Deal, his ex-bodyguard, Diddy's ex-bodyguard from the 90s, that was told by president of Bad Boy Records at the time, Kirk Barrows, that Diddy slapped his mother. He absolutely did. Let's get into this small clip of Gene Deal letting us know that Diddy allegedly smacked Janice Combs.
You believe all this, him giving her a black eye, him not doing music with her unless she did a freak off session with him. You believe all this. I think in this whole interview, we started it off that during his turmoil at the city college. He slapped his mother. If anybody put their hands on their mother, they are capable of doing anything. He's capable of doing anything to a female. I don't believe Cassie lied. I don't believe Tiffany Red lied in the way he treated women when he slapped his mother. And I was like, he did what? And Kirk Burrows said, yeah. I just thought because of what he was going through with the tragedy, it was like, I was stuck on stupid for a minute.
100% believe Kirk Burrows told Gene Deal this. Gene Deal was a very relative figure in Diddy's life back in the 90s, being his bodyguard, and Kirk Burrows was definitely around. He was one of the founders of Bad Boy before Diddy stole his rights away from the company. He literally brought a baseball bat to this man, Kirk Burrows, and forced him to sign over his rights to Bad Boy so that Diddy could have everything to himself. Now, we'll get into that, but he was a real champion for the Bad Boy artist. He was also a kingpin when it came to Uggs and whatnot, which Diddy is known for that. We're going to tap on that too, but I want to get into how Kirk was one of the people that was completely against this beef that Diddy started between Tupac and Biggie. Let's get into that. Former Bad Boy Records president Kirk Burrows spoke to Art of Dialogue candidly about what kept the rap beef between rap icons and former friends Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. alive, saying that Biggie's Who Shot Your record was one of the major rifts between the two. Burrows says that the record was never directed at Tupac. Still, Diddy took it upon himself to take advantage of the recent pop-howling and robbery of Pac and Quad Studios and drop a record that could easily be misconstrued as making Shakur the target. His quote, "The way it was marketed by the company and released in its succession of things that were going on that we were dealing with, on all the levels that we were dealing. That record did what it was supposed to do," said the former Bad Boy executive. Burrows continued, "That's a perfect example of how my former business partner works and thinks. And if you could remember that three-dimensional type of thinking, then you could start to piece through a lot of common things that are being told and get to what's really behind those things." Side note, so Kirk's basically saying that when Pac was pow-powed at Quad Studios, the track that Biggie had made had nothing to do with Tupac Shakur. But Diddy ended up going behind Kirk's back and marketing and putting that song out to make it like a single, to make it seem as if Biggie was talking about Tupac, and he was not, okay? That's why the record was made to look as a diss track towards Tupac at the time, him basically healing from being pop-out on Biggie's territory, which was in New York, and ruffle the feathers of Pac and his friends on the coast that he was on down in California. So this became a huge problem for Biggie because he and Pac were friends. So Biggie didn't want any smoke like that from Pac because he wanted to work together. He liked Tupac. Tupac liked Biggie. They were very fond of one another. And that is something that Diddy did not like. Diddy had a hatred for Tupac. I mean, the whole Quad Studios situation was set up by Diddy and his people. Now, this record executive, Kirk Burrows, at the time was also a drug kingpin. So was Jimmy Henchman, the man that also was partnered with Diddy and set up the Quad Studio pow-powing against Tupac. Let's get into that. Jimmy Henchman and Diddy were partners in the record industry. They did a lot of recording together. They shared artists, a lot of stuff. Jimmy was also, just like Kirk, was a drug kingpin. Both of these men were arrested on these charges. How is it that both of these men are kingpins? They both are partnered with Diddy, but he has nothing to do with this? He's not a kingpin as well. Come on, y'all. We can definitely put two and two together. But anyways, Jimmy Henchman is the man who set up the pow-powing of Tupac at Quad Studios. Not only did Jimmy admit this later, but an inmate in a prison that was long suspected to have did this to Tupac finally confessed and said that Jimmy Henchman absolutely hired him. Let's get into it. Shout out to the boombox.com. A convicted murderer, long suspected of involvement in the 1994 Quad Studio pow-powing of Tupac Shakur, has finally admitted to committing the crime and has accused Games manager Jimmy Henchman Roseman, founder of Cesar Entertainment, of masterminding the botched robbery, which left the legendary rapper pow-powed 5 times. His quote, "I want to apologize to Tupac's family and for the mistake I did for that sucker Roseman," Dexter Isaac told hiphop.com on the eve of Tupac's 40th birthday, in an explosive confession dedicated to his former friend, whom he helped launch the entertainment company Henchman Entertainment in 1989. Isaac explained that he has stayed silent in prison for the past 13 years, doing a life sentence like a real soldier should, but that he is tired of listening to your Roseman lies. In 1994, James Roseman hired me to rob Tupac Shakur at Quad Studio, said Isaac, who is currently housed in Brooklyn, New York's Metropolitan Detention Center. He gave me $2,500 plus all the jewelry I took except for one ring, which he wanted for himself. It was the biggest of 2 diamond rings that we took. He said he wanted to put the stone in a new setting for his girlfriend at the time, Cynthia Reed. I still have as proof the chain that we took that night in the robbery. Side note, so Isaac still has the chain of Tupac's that they took in the robbery as proof that he is the one that did it. Now, allegedly, Jimmy Henchman was doing this as a favor to Diddy, and that is what, when the feds talked to him about it to get him a deal, because he pretty much got life as well in prison. And part of the deal that he was trying to make with them was information on Diddy. And part of that information was that the Quad Studio pow-powing, he did it, but he did it for Sean Diddy Combs. Not only did Jimmy Henchman use this information as a plea deal, but Kirk Burroughs did as well. Absolutely. When he got arrested and the feds talked to him, he used the information that he had about Diddy and what was going on at Bad Boy Records as part of his plea deal. He also sued Diddy because Diddy used a weapon to force Kirk to sign over his rights to Bad Boy Records, and he also had information about what happened to Tupac. It was inside of the lawsuit, and it was all thrown out. They have been protecting Diddy for a very long time. Diddy has been working with the feds for a very long time. Like father, like son. It's allegedly the reason Diddy's father got pow-powed back in the day, because he was working with the feds. Again, what a world we live in. Let's get into this article. Shout out to the New York Post. Diddy's ex-friend cops plea. This was published May 22nd, 2005. Sean P. Diddy Combs' former business partner Kirk Burroughs is going to jail after pleading guilty to obstruction of justice. Burroughs, 42, confessed to removing evidence from his Harlem home hours before feds raided his place as part of an UGG money laundering probe. Burroughs knew about the imminent search because he had spoken to authorities earlier that day about the grand jury investigation. Quote, "Regrettably, I removed my diary notebook from my apartment in advance of a search coming through later that day," Burroughs told Manhattan federal judge Shirley Wong Cram. Under the plea deal, Burroughs is expected to serve 10 to 16 months in prison under sentencing guidelines. Burroughs was the president of Combs' Bad Boy Entertainment for 3 years, and he is the godfather to one of Combs' sons. But the two had a major falling out. Burroughs filed a federal lawsuit against Combs in 2003, making fantastic claims. He alleged that Diddy forced him to relinquish his stake in Bad Boy by threatening him with a baseball bat. He also implicated Combs in an murder of rapper Tupac Shakur, but the suit was tossed out. So Henchman, Burroughs, and Isaac, and now Keefe D, 4 people that are all involved with something that happened to Tupac Shakur, all say that Diddy was the mastermind behind it all. Yet, everyone gets in trouble except for Diddy or passes away. That is no coincidence. It absolutely is not. That is just Diddy being a part of the elite, him being protected by federal agents and whatnot for so long. Now that protection is gone. Look at how long people have been saying these things. In that lawsuit from 2003, there were all type of claims inside of it from Burroughs about Diddy, and nothing was done about it. Wouldn't that drive you crazy? You saw all of these things with your own eyes, but since this person has more money and power, it's all just gone. It's all just taken away. Your story is unaccounted for. That is bull. So I will definitely keep you all updated. Do you think, let me know in the comments, that Diddy slapped his mom? Do you think that Diddy's mom will be brought in? I definitely do. He has put a lot of businesses underneath her name. So if there's any type of corruption going on, any aiding and abetting, any stealing money, laundering money, anything like that, if her name is on it, she's going down too. And she's been around since the beginning. And these charges will stem back from the 90s and on if they have to. It's called RICO charges. So again, I think if Diddy's going down, she is going down too, and in the worst way. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Is Janice going down? Did she get slapped by her son? Do you think Diddy and his mom have a good relationship or not? Is Diddy gonna go to jail for what happened to Pac? Is he finally going to come to justice? We will see. Till the next video, I love you all. Bye.